What's going on, guys? Today we're talking about the Apple Vision Pro. If that's not clear at this point, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, but real talk, I have had the Apple Vision Pro since its launch day. So at this point, I have some feelings about it, but my goal of this video is I wanna talk about my actual experience of using this thing and share what my favorite parts are about the Apple Vision Pro, as well as some things that I wish were maybe a little bit better about it as well. But I think this could be the future. Let's talk about it. Now, I want to talk about actually going to the store and my experience picking this thing up first. I live in downtown Chicago, so we have a beautiful flagship Apple store here on Michigan Avenue. It's right on the Riverwalk, the river that goes through downtown Chicago, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And when I was there for the iPhone 15 launch, there was hundreds of people outside. It was chaotic. There was lines everywhere. But for this one, I pulled up on launch day and there was not a single person outside. There was no lines inside, but I walked right in without an issue at all. But it was a little bit different. Now, it's really cool how the Apple Store had it. They had an entire area that was dedicated to demoing the product. So if you were just interested in trying it out, or if you actually picked one up for yourself, they would help you set it up so you are very familiar with how to use this thing correctly before you leave the store. And it's not a surprise it wasn't insane there on launch day to me. This is one of those products where people need to kind of see how this thing works or almost experience it for themselves first before they want to invest in it. Unless you're like me and then you're just like, well, let's just take this thing home and unbox it. All right, so package secured. This went into the Apple store back here, Michigan Avenue store. First impressions in there, seeing other people use it and demo it was just super cool. Although they offered me a demo, I want to take this thing home and kind of experience it for myself. So the Apple Vision Pro itself, right? First time you put it on your head, there is definitely a learning curve to using it. Some things feel familiar because it's still part of the Apple ecosystem, right? Like it has a little turn wheel like the Apple Watch. A lot of the apps, icons, and other things within the Vision Pro feel like Apple and they're familiar to what you would know from your iPhone or MacBook. But how you actually do things is crazy different. So imagine you got this computer strapped to your face, right? Instead of looking at like your MacBook screen. Instead of having a mouse and moving your cursor around to navigate to where you wanna go, you're literally using your eyeballs. So that is your mouse where you're kind of navigating everything you're looking for with your eyeballs. And then instead of clicking the mouse, you go like this with your finger, and that's essentially like a mouse click. It sounds insane, but I'm telling you, once you use it for like 20, 30 minutes, you get really used to it very quickly. In fact, the first night I used this thing, I used it for hours at a time. Something pretty crazy happened. Obviously, when I'm reviewing this thing, I want to actually use it a ton, fully immerse myself in it so I can just get used to it and truly test this thing out. So I had this on for like 2 hours straight. And then before I went to bed, I decided to hop on Call of Duty for a minute. So I roll over to my PC here, fire it up. And I'm not kidding you. I'm literally trying to navigate on the screen with my eyeballs and then pinch my fingers to select things I'm looking at on the screen. And that is day one, the first day I'm using this thing. After using this for a couple hours, I'm already getting used to it. It reminds me of those days when the first time you use an iPad, you're like touching the screen, right? And then you go to your laptop and you just start smashing your screen with your finger because you forget it's not touch. That to me is a pure sign in the fact that this thing starts to feel natural very quickly. It's pretty wild. It might take you a second to get used to it, but once you do, you don't even really think about it too much. I hope this focuses on my face. So, is this thing heavy? Because I know that's been a large topic of discussion. I put out like a little vertical yesterday and people seem to get upset about what I said. I compared it to a pair of sunglasses and I was trying to be somewhat funny with that. Obviously, these are going to be heavier than a pair of sunglasses, but that's kind of my point. Is it a little bit heavier than some other VR headsets out there? Yeah, it seems to be a little bit heavier. But for the mass majority of people out there, you're not used to having something on the front of your face like this. So anything's gonna feel somewhat heavy. So to me, it's really not an issue at all. I've only used this head strap so far and it's been pretty comfortable. It comes with a second head strap that goes over the top as well to make the weight distribution even a little bit better. So if for some reason you're on the fence about picking this thing up just because of the weight, like it really shouldn't be a concern. And once this pops off, it's actually really not too big itself, you know what I mean? I wouldn't stress too much. Now, hands down, my favorite part about using this thing over the past few days has been using it as an extension to my MacBook. So when you have the Apple Vision Pro on and you have your MacBook in front of you, right? You have the option of having your MacBook screen enter your virtual world of the Apple Vision Pro. So me, being a content creator, right? I do photo and video work professionally for a living. I essentially live inside of Premiere Pro and Lightroom on a daily basis. Like I've been editing videos on a MacBook MacBook since like 2008, 2009. So I'm telling you, the experience of being able to just blow up my Premiere Pro timeline to cover the entire size of my kitchen. Like I have a 50-foot wide timeline where I can look at what I'm editing. You can walk up to it, see things closer if you want, bring it closer to you, bring it further away, make it bigger, smaller, etc. You're still controlling your MacBook screen on the MacBook itself. Obviously you see it with the Vision Pro. And the same thing with Lightroom, editing a photo in Lightroom, just being able to make a photo the size of my entire wall. Like I'm editing a Lightroom photo on a 30-foot screen in front of my face. That is something that is hard to even put into words of what it feels like. The videos I'm gonna show throughout this, I know won't do it justice. It looks amazing, but I'm telling you, until you can experience that yourself, it is the craziest feeling. Like I've been doing that every day on a computer screen for 10 plus years, 15 plus years. And seeing it in that way was just mind blowing. And that's kind of what a lot of the Apple Vision Pro is, at least in my opinion right now. You can do a lot of your similar things. It's just a whole different experience doing it with this. You gotta say hi. Come on, Mocha. I'm telling you, she's always in here when I'm editing or filming, but then she gets shy. Go lay down. She's literally just staring at me right here. So as good as everything is and as cool as the experience is with the Apple Vision Pro, it's not all perfect, at least yet. Right now, there are some really cool applications and different experiences you can do within this. Is there enough of those things to make me want to use this every single day for the next year? If it stayed like how it is right now, that's where I'm not exactly sure. There's like dinosaur experiences, or you can throw up like a DJ booth right here and start DJing. Those types of things are really cool. How long do they stay cool? That's kind of the question. I think right now it launched with 600 apps available on Apple Vision Pro, which sounds like a lot of apps, but once you compare it to what's on the actual App Store for like an iPhone, let's see how many apps are in the Apple App Store. The iPhone Apple App Store has almost 2 million apps. So 600 apps compared to 2 million apps is very different. I mean, we don't even have things like a native YouTube app, Netflix app. You don't even have things like your normal social apps like IG, TikTok, etc. So that's kind of one thing I would definitely say is right now, you know, it's a really cool thing. There's a lot of cool things to do within there. Can it replace everything else I'm doing? Probably not, no. Is it intended to already do that? Also probably not, no. But now that developers have this in their hands, more and more people are using it. People are already thinking of new ways they could utilize this. I'm sure over the coming months, this thing is going to start booming with different cool applications of what you can use it for. But as of right now, that's kind of like my biggest question mark. Now, another thing is obviously the price. So this thing comes in at $3,500. After tax, if you get any accessories, etc., you're getting close to $4,000, okay? So I've put out a few pieces of short form content on the Apple Vision Pro this weekend so far, and without a doubt, the #1 comment I've got about this thing is the price, comparing it to other VR headsets, saying other headsets do the same thing for half the price. This feature has already been out for years on this app or on this headset, whatever, and it kind of brings up an interesting point. I don't know why we draw this line with tech of saying that, hey, this is too expensive. This other thing can do it a little bit worse and a little bit different, but it's for half the price, so there's no way this should cost this much. Why do you think everyone out there in the world doesn't drive a Honda Accord or a Toyota Corolla? Why is someone buying a Mercedes versus that? Why is someone going to buy a Gucci purse instead of going to Walmart? Why are people investing in a Rolex? People are gonna spend their money in different ways, and some people are okay spending a little bit more for some small, minimal things that are really important to them. It could be craftsmanship, it could be the name, it could be the way it connects to the rest of your ecosystem, like this. It works with my iPhone, it works with my iPad, my MacBook, and I don't even have to think about it. So is $4,000 a lot? Of course, that's a big amount of change, but for each individual, $4,000 is going to carry a different amount of weight. You're talking about a Gen 1 VR mixed reality headset from Apple. This probably isn't going to be the cheapest item out there on the market. So if you're thinking about picking it up, should I buy the Apple Vision Pro or not? I think you gotta ask yourself that question. How important is it for you to try this out for yourself for the first time? To be one of the early adopters to what the future could be. For some people, they don't even think twice about spending the money on this thing to be able to experience that. For other people, they would never even imagine dropping this much money on that. And guess what? Both those are totally fine, but you just gotta decide that for yourself. So overall, this is one of the coolest experiences or devices I have ever used. I have picked up and used a lot of new tech that comes out, and I have never used anything quite like this before. The overall experience you get picking this thing up, the way you can mix this thing in with your everyday tasks. I mean, I was brushing my teeth last night with this thing on just to see what it would be like, and there's just truly something magical about putting on this thing. It takes you almost out of your body and experiences this thing that I've never felt before. And I truly think no matter how many of these videos you guys watch or how much research you do, you will never be able to understand it until you actually put one on yourself and actually experience it first person. But I'll tell you what, if anyone is going to create a new piece of tech that is going to help shape what the future of our lives look like, my money is going to be on Apple every single time. So guys, feel free to check out some of my other Apple related videos here on my channel. Drop me any questions you have about the Apple Vision Pro and I'll be responding to all of them down in the comments below, or what else you want to see. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.